Wow, that is impressive. But the color's all wrong.
What?
Hi everybody, welcome back to another edition of Garage Studio Modelers. I'm Dave Force with my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
And in today's special edition, we are looking at a 1/200 scale Yamato.
Yes, Yamato. And just so there's no confusion, some people call it Yamato, blah, blah, but the pronunciation is Yamato.
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 Okay? In Japanese, the pronunciation is Yamato.
So there's a lot to get at and a lot to
Yes.
unpack here. But first, maybe let's start with a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Of the ship and obviously I think the biggest battleship ever made. Is that right?
I think it is. It's the biggest battleship ever made to date, and I don't think
certainly the biggest one ever sunk.
along with her sister ship.
That's right.
Yep.
The Musashi, right?
And and also I believe, I may be mistaken, you guys can comment, but this might be the largest injection plastic kit from the viewpoint of parts and weight. Okay? Now, Dave, this kit is about 2,800, 3,000 parts. It came with it came with 15 frets of photo etch. 15.
You will see exactly 3 of these built globally. I think, right?
Hopefully more.
Yeah.
Hopefully more.
It's impressive. Like like you've been talking. I mean, you and I obviously we're friends and we see each other a lot. You've been talking about this for forever.
Yes.
And it's built. So we'll talk about the length of time and even the length of time is amazing in terms of like.
There's a backstory to this.
Yeah. So you burned through this, but tell us a little bit about. But it's massive. Like I can't get over the size of this thing. Like. You've this is the first time I see it in person.
It's true. Like since we do everything without editing, and tonight I brought it in. And it's the first time that Dave and Robert has seen it, so it's a natural and organic reaction.
Yeah,
so.
It's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the history of it, and then this in the pre-intro there we had a bit of a joke on the color.
The colors, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. There is a story.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where do we start? We don't have a script for this. We'll just banter on about this thing. So first of all, the context, Dave. The context of this model came about through an email that I got from Aaron Skinner and Tim Kidwell from Fine Scale Modelers. Hi Tim, hi Aaron. And they had said, Harvey, would you like to build another ship for Fine Scale? And so, in the past I'd done a few for Fine Scale. Years ago I did a 1/350 Nagato. And it was quite an enjoyable build because I managed to take it and convert it to the way I wanted it. I can cut it up.
It was like basically an anti-aircraft platform.
Yeah, that's right. And so I remember at that time I said, well, I'd rather not do an in-box review. Can I cut it up? And they said yes. So this is kind of like scenario number 2 now, where they said, we got another one for you. And then they said, would you like to do the 1/200 gallery models, MRC, Yamato? And so at first I actually was hesitant because it's big.
It's 1/200.
It's 1/200. Guys, it's about 5 feet long, give or take. That's a big model. And I mentioned earlier 3,000 parts.
Anyways.
Yeah. And so I said to Aaron and Tim, love to do it, but I got nowhere in the house to keep it. So they graciously said, well, let's do it. And they actually shipped this thing to me. Now, I live in Toronto, Canada. We're here in Toronto, Canada, in the Great White North. And they literally sent this across the border at their cost. That must have been very expensive.
I can only imagine.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you buy stuff and then we'll just ship it across the border. The mailing costs are just horrendous.
Yeah, it's brutal.
The weight of this thing came in at 21 pounds when I got it.
Is that all?
That's 21 pounds. Now
21 pounds of plastic.
Yes. Now, as we're talking, Robert will edit in some photos I will send, and you're probably going to see them on the screen as we're speaking now. But there's a shot of it on my porch. And that just gives you the sheer size. And my wife's coming home, and she literally says, honey, there's a box on the porch for you. Looks like it's a couch or something. No, I didn't order a couch. So you go to IKEA.
Got a new fridge.
Yeah.
Got a new fridge.
Was big. It was big. And they shipped it.
Yeah.
And I'll, basically, I had to make room in my house to even store it. And so I got it, and I said to myself, all right, how long do we want to take?
Yeah.
Now, they were kind at Fine Scale, take your time. No, I just want my own self-imposed deadline. So I tried to do this, and I did. It took me 3 months, which is really quick.
That's 3 months? That's phenomenally quick.
That's phenomenal.
Phenomenally quick for this. Come on.
Yeah.
You can tell someone's retired.
Yeah. So it took 3 months to build.
And this is the type of kit that you can't just be interested in this. You got to be committed to it.
That's a very good point.
Right? Like,
committed.
Yeah, because you're not getting to the finish line. This is a marathon.
You have to have your heart in this project.
Yeah.
Right? It's if you don't like Imperial Japanese subjects of World War II, then you may not get through it. It's really got to be a part of your passion.
Yeah, when you came in, walked in with this thing, I thought you'd gotten one of the models from Tor.
The original one, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a beast.
Fantastically big.
It's a beast. Now, after they sent it to me, I said to them, "You're taking this back." That was the deal, and they have graciously said they will put it in a display case. Over at Callback Publishing, where their headquarters are.
Deserves it.
Yeah,
for sure.
in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So thank you, Fine Scale, for both the model, the opportunity for me to build it. If you watch one of their episodes, they talk about one of their authors or contributors is going to build it. Well, I guess that ended up being me. Did I have fun with it? Yeah, I did.
Nobody else would take it.
Oh my God. Don't forget, Dave. I got a very understanding wife.
That came out. That's fantastic. That's beautiful.
Thank you. That's kind of like
stunning.
Thank you. That's the backwater story, and your reaction is real because you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, it's the first time I really.
Hopefully, it captures well on the camera. Now, my last understanding from Fine Scale is I believe it's going to be in one of the issues in the spring.
Now, would that be one issue or multiple issue or?
I should email them and ask.
I imagine it's a fairly involved article.
It was. It's one of the largest ones. So I don't know if they're going to break it in two parts or one, but I did a fairly big, sizable write-up, which is great for the lead-in because a lot of people like Tigers and Messerschmitt 109s. There's a lot of experts out there. And right?
Yes.
We were talking about Tigers just before this.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Tiger ones and the Japanese that went to evaluate it. Blah blah. We were just talking about that before the show, and what was accurate about or not accurate about the colors of the Tiger in that visit. But I digress. So the Yamato, there's a lot of people that know about it, and I gotta give a shout out to Christian van der Sanden. Thanks, Christian. He runs the Facebook group. Was it Trumpeter and 1-200 Yamato and other builds on Facebook? I found it very useful.
So that's a Facebook group that's dedicated to larger ships,
1-200.
Not just the Yamato, but
it's Musashi Yamato sister ships. Only those two.
Oh,
but it could be the Trumpeter. They talk about the Nichimo one.
Oh, okay.
So it's
those
everything.
Ships any scale.
Only 1-200.
Only 1-200. There's a 1-200 of.
There's a 1-200 at the Yamato Nichimo.
Oh wow.
So this one came out in the summer of 2022, and it
landed with a thud.
Finally replaced the old venerable 1-200 Nichimo Yamato Musashi, which came out in the 60s.
I didn't even know there was a 1-200.
Yeah.
There you go. Every day.
And I'm kind of all over the map with this because my good friend Tim Burke over at IPMS Northeast New York at NorEastCon, by sheer coincidence, before Fine Scale asked me, gave me his 1-200 Nichimo Yamato before I even got approached. So what ended up happening is I had a 1-200 Nichimo, I was going to start it, and then Fine Scale calls me. Now, of course, this model is the epitome.
Yeah.
Right? It's got some issues, but it's accurate.
Every model does.
Right? It's new, and it finally replaces the 1960s.
I mean, it looks like a Yamato.
It does. it kind of grew up and built as it built the superstructure. It's looking like Yamato.
So let's chat a little bit
Yeah.
about, I guess. So maybe a bit of the history
Yeah,
of it.
sure.
So I think the largest battleship ever made
Yes.
was sunk in 40
In
44 or 45?
45, yes.
by
April
carrier
45.
aircraft, large,
By carrier aircraft, that's correct.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
She was commissioned, I think, in August of 1940, if I got that.
and
right.
never fired a shot in anger at another ship. Is that right?
Actually, no, she did. She actually fired at the ships of Taffy 3
Oh,
in
okay.
the Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Okay.
And she didn't fire at another capital ship.
But she fired at the
Fired at
escort carrier.
escort carrier Gambier Bay.
Yeah.
And she fired at the destroyers of Taffy 3
Oh, okay.
and literally was credited with sinking of the Gambier Bay.
Okay.
And several of the destroyers that went to, which, by the way, those gallant crews, I mean, that's a whole new story of what those destroyer crews did in those tiny little destroyers. They were gunning after Yamato, and a few of them were sunk with mostly all hands lost.
Right.
And only recently found was it the Johnston, USS Johnston, the Sammy B they found. They're still looking for the Gambier Bay. So that was a very gallant battle, and Yamato, along with the escorts, I don't need to name them all, but they fought at Leyte Gulf in 1944.
And these are
action.
18-inch guns.
Yeah, these are 46 centimeter, 18-inch guns. They fired shells the size of a small car, apparently. They are apparently the largest caliber battleship weapons ever to be made, and I believe still are. Right? They're still bigger than USS Missouri, the Wisconsin, all the big U.S. battleships. It's still bigger than the Bismarck. These ones here, I mean, I'm not going to go into all the details. These are the secondary armament, which is, 12.5 centimeter, 6-inch guns. And then you have like these twins up here, all over the place, which are 12.7 meter high angle anti-aircraft guns. And then the smaller ones in triple turrets are the 25 millimeter guns. You can see on the deck, there's approximately 31 of these single 25 millimeter guns.
Those are 25 mil.
Yeah, and I got those from the Yamato that Tim gave me. Like, it was the perfect union.
Oh.
Because the model from MRC Gallery does allow you to build pretty well any version of Yamato and Musashi at any time of their careers, actually. But they don't include enough of the 25 mil if you want to backdate, which is what I did with this. I backdated this to October of 1944, where she had all these. These were removed, quite a few of these were removed later on. And again, I'm not an expert on it, so if there's somebody saying you're wrong or whatever, we'll put them in the comments and we'll be corrected by it. But that kind of gives you an idea of the history.
And this was, I'm guessing this was upgun. So in addition to the 25 millimeters on the deck,
Yeah.
this was also upgun with some turrets. As well?
Yes,
It was.
that's correct.
Is that right? Yeah.
Totally unscripted. Good for you, Dave. You notice that here you'll see that there's these little triple turrets on the edge of the deck. There were only two aside, two on here and two on this side in 1944. They actually added quite a few more between them. So
Yeah.
the
'Cause
upgun,
it looks fairly tight in there.
Yeah.
From a configuration standpoint, yeah.
and they added more, right? They added more in 45. So when she sunk, she actually had more of these triple turrets. And of course, in 41, she was completely different. Didn't have as much armament.
And this, so let's talk a little bit about the color, because I noticed that the
You said the
turrets,
color was wrong at the beginning.
the color was wrong, because there seems to be like a worn black
Yeah.
color on the decks and on some of the guns. Talk a little bit about that. Why did they do that?
Okay, so in the research I found both on Christian's site and on the net, I have some Japanese friends who gave me some advice. Little is known about this, but she actually had black camouflage on her decks, and particularly you can see it in photos in her forward turrets, especially this turret way up front, turret A. I believe is what they call it. And it was basically soot from the funnel mixed in with some leftover Japanese navy gray paint. And they painted this black haphazardly on parts of the superstructure, mostly the forward gun turret. You can see some on the second one. And all over the deck.
Just on the top, right? So not on the sides.
Dock, yeah.
On the top. This was almost fully done, but
almost
worn,
fully done.
And then that one has nothing.
Again, by photos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, photos,
you know how, yeah.
Photos generally don't lie, right?
Yeah, but you know, there's always like so many challenges in interpreting black and white photos. In fact, I had some people react that the deck wouldn't have like flaked like that. But if you look at black and white photos, one shows it's flaked, another one shows it's not, depending on the exposure and angle. So this is my artistic approach to the deck.
Yeah, which I think is,
you know,
why you do this. I mean, you try and get it as accurate as possible, but at some point you need to make a decision and go in a direction with something, right?
Right. And,
I think.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
And good point, because what we do know is it wasn't uniformly applied black, because they didn't have time to make it that neat. So it was haphazardly applied, as well as to the float pane deck at the rear. So you can see a lot of black on the deck, which was basically hairspray technique with those shaders. You know those...
those ammo shaders?
Yeah, ammo shaders. I used they call it Starship Filth.
That's a great color, yeah. Like a dark gray.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, to be honest, guys, on the black here, nothing's black. It's all a black gray. I don't use pure black. Hairspray first, and then kind of airbrushing to blend it all in with the shaders. But that's a good observation.
And there's good, like I like the, now, was this a linoleum deck underneath?
Linoleum's only on the
back.
On the back here where the seaplane deck
is. So this is proper wood coming through.
Wood, yes. Yeah. On that note, Dave, the front, you notice the front is slightly lighter. Apparently, that was left unpainted, and so.
Oh, so this would have been the original color.
Yeah, metal, zinc, whatever.
Really?
Yeah, you guys can tell me the purpose why. I don't know, but.
It seems strange that they would take the trouble to cover the guns, but I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see it in the black and white photos, and again, black and white photos are always suspect too, because there is. Which reminds me, there really is no solid, detailed photos of this ship or her sister Musashi, because when they were built, it was under total secrecy. They apparently even had iron curtains in the shipyards. Nobody could get close to take detailed photos. So the only thing you can rely on are, like this is a fantastic reference, right? This is Skalski and Draminsky's book on the battleship Yamato.
So it's a Bible.
I think it is. But again, you know, there's a lot of colorized photos, but there's also a lot of very detailed line drawings. See, there's a lot of computer-generated drawings.
That's fantastic.
But again, people need to realize, unlike a walk-around of a 109 or a Spitfire, there was no detailed walk-arounds.
Well, there's nowhere you can really go and see this, unless you go to the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom. And
the Pacific.
If you look at Christian's site, he does a whole PDF. It's like 100 pages, where he talks about what's inaccurate about this model. Now he's pretty healthy approach to it. He's not saying that don't build it. His philosophy is he'll do whatever he can to tell you what's wrong with it, but it's up to you as a hobbyist to decide what you want to do. He's actually not the type of guy
he puts the data out there and lets you do what you want with it. He's not preaching at that type of thing.
No. He's not saying, well, if you left it out, it's totally wrong. He's actually quite a healthy attitude about it. So I really liked the support that you gave me, Christian. Thanks, and all the other guys on that site as well. But but go to his Facebook, and he's got that. You can download it, and it's about 100 pages. And so are there things wrong with it? Yes. If I fix them all, would you notice them from an average eye to somebody not familiar with Yamato? Probably less so. But there's the debate.
Yeah, I am a Yamato layman, and it looks fine to me, right?
I did do some things. I did add, there's little hand wheels at the front near the anchor. I added those. Right, because I thought that that it would appear. I use the scale rule. If you're standing 350 feet or 200 feet away from the model in this case, would you see that detail? So I didn't bother adding a lot of the minutia of photo etch, like gun sights and things to that. Now again, some models might debate me, but if I'm standing 200 feet away, would I see them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I did add these guns. The back date is really the guns and also leaving off some of the turrets because the kit does allow you to do that. I had to actually flip the deck and re-drill the holes and be careful not to drill out the ones where you'd fit the 1945 turrets. You see, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
The superstructure is more or less the same, and at that time, she in 1944, I think I may be wrong, but part of that action, the admiral was not on board, so you wouldn't find an admiral's flag. So I only put one single Japanese naval flag there.
Nice.
You can see on the back there's a seaplane. It's a Pete.
Yeah, I was admiring that earlier. Very nice.
The markings I got for that were from references that basically said this was the aircraft with the tail code that spotted the Gambier Bay and did the artillery spotting when she was sunk. So I tried to do as best as I could.
Nice.
And,
nice little detail.
Yeah, these little details, right? And I couldn't get in with I build with a lighted magnifier, and it's like you can't, right? It's big. You gotta walk.
It's massive.
It's massive.
It's unbelievable. But so what? So that everything. So aside from the guns that you repurposed from the old Nishimo kit, was there anything else that you added to this that wasn't in the box?
Well, here's one thing that
aside, and the
little hand wheels. Yeah, not much. It's actually pretty well out of box.
So you can build different versions, or it's pretty well. It's pretty well.
You need a good reference, but you can. You could do Masashi. You can do you can tell the way they engineered it that there's other future releases coming out. That's the way that I could see the way they designed the model. It's pretty well out of box. You can get a detailed set, which you just look up aftermarket on the internet. You'll find a whole ton of them. Some are 3D printed. I think Prontos makes a detailed set, which costs like $300 US.
Is that all?
That's all.
Yeah.
But this is all the photo etch. The only thing that the kit doesn't come with, and doesn't even tell you where it goes, is the rigging. There's no rigging diagram.
So that's all from reference.
This is easy line.
Yeah.
And then I just use them from the references from the book.
Nice.
But it's not bad for a box.
Yeah.
You got to build it in components. I wouldn't. If you guys are going to build this, I did the superstructure separately. I did the turret.
Now you said this was about 3 months to build. Is that right?
I took 3 months doing probably on average maybe an hour, 2 hours a day. That's a lot, but it's about 3 months. If you were to stitch it together, it's about 3 months. If you were to seriously build this with correcting everything, it could be a 2-year build.
I think that so you probably put maybe 3 months, so almost every day.
Every day.
Let's say 70 days that you work, you probably take a few days off.
Yeah.
140 hours. Call it if you put an hour, like it's 150 hours.
Yeah, probably even more because some weekends I'd be at it for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, so let's say 200 hours so 200 hours roughly of build time, bench time in this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's going to go in an issue again, I think, in the spring. Maybe by the time this is released, we'll know for sure.
It's like a tenth of a man year.
That's
not bad, actually.
It's not bad. Did I learn a lot? I learned that I don't like photo etch. Build ship models. It's all photo etch.
And all the photo etch that's on came with it.
Yep. Yeah.
And how was the quality of the photo etch?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Parts of it is actually. You ever run into a situation where with your armor you don't use it all, right?
Yeah, you use a percentage of it.
Same with this.
Yeah.
Like it came with like the little 25mm triples. Came with gun sights, and if you bent them, they're so delicate that they would break.
Yeah.
So again, 200-foot rule. I just left them off. You want the effect, right? Could I put a crew on? That would have really made it neat, but that would have added even more time. And the model does not come with 1/200 crew. right? But putting a crew on here would certainly bring life to it.
A couple of Barbie dolls.
Yeah, yeah. The colors.
Colors, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about the colors. These ships were what they call Japanese naval gray, kind of like a dark colored gray. Now, if you guys note when you go to Tamiya, you can see this in some of the Gunzi paints. They have Kure gray and they have a Sasebo gray. I use Kure because the ship was built around there in the dockyards there. In fact, you're part of the filming of this episode. Robert will add in a few photos, which we will look at the actual 1/10 model of the Kire, where I visited it in Japan.
Oh, at the museum.
Yeah, at the Yamato Museum in Kure, Japan. So Kure is about, let's see, it's about 30-minute drive outside of Hiroshima. And if you're a daring hiker, you can actually get there from downtown Hiroshima to Kure in about 5 hours if you want to hike. So it's actually a nice drive, but I encourage you to go to this museum. They've got the 1/10 Yamato there. You're going to be seeing photos as we speak on the episode I'm going to send to Robert of the 1/10 model. They have artifacts from the ship there,
Nice.
souvenirs, models of the Yamato up the wazoo from the gift shop. It's a fantastic place to go.
Beautiful.
So, to answer your note on colors, Dave, I will do a shout out to Jeff Hearn. He graciously gave me the paints that he's now under the authority of making, and he's running a line of paints called Scale Colors.
And those are...
They're acrylics.
acrylics.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
acrylic...
They're kind of like a Tamiya, but they're much thinner. Like they're kind of like along the lines of Mission Model paints, Tamiya paints. They're pure acrylics with their own thinner. You'll see all of this in the article because I tested Scale Colors with all the acrylic thinners. The Acrasium, the Tamiya, the yellow cap, the orange cap with retarder. I tested them all.
And
Mix reviews. Just use their thinner.
use theirs.
Use their thinner. The paint actually smells quite nice. It's got this sweet aroma to it, which is probably toxic. But so I got the paints through the Canadian distributor, which is the Barrel Store that Jerry runs here in Toronto, Jerry Billington. So thanks, Jerry, for getting them through Jeff. So I got enough paints from that to do the whole ship. So this ship was done pretty much in all of the IJN colors that's now on the market with the new Scale Color range.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, I mean with washes, and then I used oils and but it was a long haul, but I'm glad that I got
It's
it.
behind you.
When's your next one? 200.
Never.
If you were to do one, which one would you do?
Which one will I do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question.
If you were to pick, and there's quite a few out there, would you pick Japanese? Would you pick Royal Navy, U.S. Navy?
I don't know. I've always liked the Prince of Wales, or even like the Yamato. I like the shape of the Yamato, the Prince of Wales. Maybe a Bismarck Tirpitz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know, but they're all. I've never been a. Like I just, it's funny you mentioned that because I bought like a Russian, like 1350 modern Russian submarine, an Alpha class.
Which you will be doing, I believe.
Yes, I will be doing it on the. Well, I'll show the progress and maybe use some of the things I do on it, the things I learned from it that are different from doing aircraft or armor, which I'm used to doing. So yeah, so we'll start with that, but I don't know if I don't think I have the patience. I don't have it.
Well, I know you like weathering, because this ship, it's hard maybe for Robert to pick up.
If it took
on
you
the
200 hours, it would take me like 1,000 hours to do this, to weather it.
Well,
I would just fuss over it, right? But
you know what I like about these though? I like weathering like you. And if Robert on the camera, I don't know if you can pick it up, Robert, but you can see there's a sludge of green along the waterline, which are
it's subtle.
Yeah, you see it?
Yep.
I used Tamiya Clear, and then I used some of the Warhammer paints to get that mossy effect. Washes, you'll see
And
all
it's airbrushed on.
Airbrushed.
Yeah. So all that detail will be in the article. Yeah.
all details of me are the only the hand weathering I did was oils. I did use Winsor Newton oils to apply washes, oil washes, and oil mapping. just to bring out the details with some very, very
There's a
light
lot
dry
of,
brushing.
and there's a lot of detail, right? Like on the superstructure,
Yep.
on the stack, main stack. That's amazing.
Yeah, you want
All
the
the
pop.
binoculars up here, right, for sighting. It's amazing.
Yeah, and if you look closely, there's wood decking inside there, so there's little subtleties you have to look hard. And as they say, I used easy line, both the beige one for the running lines, and then the standard line riggings is black.
Incredible.
Right. But yeah, you need to think through a project when you do this. What do you start with first? I started on the hull. It does not come with a display base. The display base that you see here, I made out of
You made
wood.
that, yeah.
And there's 4 acrylic rods that go right through the hull into a solid piece of basswood. So if I pick it up, it makes me nervous.
Don't tempt
I can
fate.
literally turn it upside down.
Don't tempt
It's
fate.
not going anywhere.
Oh, you're brave.
The label is one that I made from my vinyl cutter. I have a Cameo cutter, so I just
Nice.
designed the label myself. And fun project, yeah. One thing I forgot to mention. If I'm going to flip it up. This is another thing that I noticed when I was doing the research. You see on the deck, there's these white squares on the edge of the decking.
Yes.
Those apparently were for night operations. I honestly don't know how they worked, but you can very clearly see in the photos that they applied these white squares to assist, I guess, in night combat, because the Japanese were quite adept at it.
Would that have been for like sighting, like
I
directional?
don't know. I honestly don't know, but they had them all over the deck, and if somebody can tell me in the comments what they were for, I would be gracious. I couldn't find out what they were for. So please tell me what they are. But apparently you can clearly see them in photos because they stand out so in such contrast to the black camo paint. But here's a test for the viewers. Is there something that you don't see on this ship that you think you would? What about you? Here's a test. There's something on this vessel that's absent that you'd think should be there. Can you see what it is? You can tell this is live. We taped this live. It's almost so obvious, but it's not. There's something on this ship that you think it's missing. What are they? Give up.
Torpedo launchers? I don't know. No.
Lifeboats. There's no lifeboats.
Oh,
Right? Apparently I found out that they were... Now you do see them in photos when they're at port. You can see that they're on the back, they're on davits. But my understanding is that they were stored in these little... there's these little doors here.
Oh, they were just.
They were inside. I presume from the gun blast, I'm not sure, but you don't see her in combat with all the boats and the davits.
Interesting.
And again, I'm not an expert on naval.
So they had them. They were just below deck.
They were below deck, or right? They were not on deck when she was in combat. But
At least that's what they told the crew.
yeah, when it's sinking, let's get the boats out of the. And she was sunk in April of '45, and with most of the crew going down, well over. Almost 3,000 sailors killed. I think I got that number right, but most of them went down with the ship. Because she was hit by apparently 11, 12 torpedoes.
Yeah.
Avengers, Helldivers, like... Strafed. There's 2 movies in Japan on the Yamato.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can catch the clips on YouTube, right? If you search it on YouTube.
Or buy the movies.
It's impressive. Yeah.
So there she blows. Sorry, we're kind of like all over the map, but that's just a brief description of.
And yeah, just getting a better understanding of what you did and the techniques that you used, but yeah, it's a phenomenal looking piece and impressive, and
thank you.
I can't believe it was only 200 hours of effort to get it to this.
Yeah, and you know what? I am humble.
What am I doing?
Yeah. You know what you could do with 200 hours, right? You could be studying for a degree or something.
Oh
you know.
my God. Yeah.
But thanks to Fine Scale for the model. Thanks for the opportunity, and above all else, thank you for displaying it at your offices. I just until I get a bigger home, I don't have the real estate for this thing.
Well, it is. Yeah, where would I put it? But
Yeah.
beautiful. Well done, Harvey.
Thank you, Dave.
Well done. Beautifully
Thank you.
done. Yeah.
And Robert, thanks for all of your film work, and I guess we'll see you in another episode.
We'll see you next time. All right.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everyone. Bye bye.